but I'm not letting it overtake me. I'm realizing it's there, and I'm just like, whatever happens, happens. Oh, hello, love. So we have, oh, my contacts are so dry. The week this week was week 8. Hold on. Recovering a sense of strength. Yep. Maybe that's why I'm so tired. So let me open up my sketchbook. This week was good. I think I felt more invigorated at the beginning of the week. Oh my God. I think I need to take out my contacts. Okay, so some things that I had written down that kind of stuck out to me were, that's not the right page. Yes. Age and time, product and process. That was like a part in the book. We do not want to look crazy. And trying whatever it is at our age would look nuts. I'm not so much scared of like the age thing as much, but more so looking crazy. And I think I've like, especially these past couple weeks, just kind of moved past it. And I'm like, I just have to be myself. Like, I just have to be myself. So a lot of that fear has gone. And then it says our ego plays a little trick to keep us from getting started in telling us that creativity, oh no, that's the lie. Sorry. Oh my God. That's the lie that it tells us. That our ego tells us is like, oh, well, I'm going to look crazy like at my age, or like, what are people going to think of me or whatever, which all still like leads back to shame and a protection mechanism that I think I've used for a really long time is like procrastination or perfectionism, which I thought was really interesting because then there's another part I had written down that said creativity lies not in the done, but in the doing. And then fixated on the need to have something to show for your labors, we often deny our curiosities. And again, I feel like I keep going back to this main thought, right? Like even through my whole practice, it's like I run out and I think that I'm going straight, but really I'm like running in this massive circle. Because it all keeps coming back to this point of like process, and it feels like I go out and I like build these things and I like, you know what I mean? And then it all kind of crumbles down just for me to remember, oh my God, it's about the process. It's not even about like this finished painting at all. The painting is just a byproduct of the process, but it's in being present that's where like the magic lies. And so, yeah, that was nice to see. Okay, then I have early paintings and exercise. So write about whatever they trigger for you. And she had some phrases out and I had to write, like fill in the blanks. Okay, this is what came to mind. As a kid, my dad thought my art was dangerous. That made me feel controlled. I remember one time when he erased my art on the chalk wall in my bedroom because I had written "fuck you" on it. I felt very mad and silenced about that. I will never forget it. As a kid, my mother taught me that my daydreaming was a distraction. I remember she'd tell me to snap out of it by reminding me that people are always watching. The person I remember who believed in me was Miss Levine, my high school art teacher. I remember one time when we were painting oils in class, we all had to share the tubes, but Miss Levine brought her own personal professional oil paints for me to use instead. I remember she called me over. It was so cute. None of us knew what we were doing. Okay, she of course gave us a rundown of like, hey, this is what you do, this is how you do it. But we were all very nervous because oils were like so professional, right? And then she called me over. She's like, Julia, come here. And I went behind her desk and she pulled out her little drawer And sure enough, it was like her personal oil paints that she brought from her house. And she's like, I brought these for you, take from here. Because the pigmentation is different, right? Like the class was using student grade. And I remember just like being so touched by that. Which brings me to number 8. I felt seen and warm about that. I never forgot it. Number 9, the thing that ruined my chance to be an artist was my unhealthy addiction to love, specifically loving those who were not capable of loving me back the way that I deserved. The negative lesson I got from that, which wasn't logical, but I still believe, is that I can't find someone who truly loves me and be an artist. When I was little, I learned that drugs and alcohol were big sins that I particularly had to look out for. I grew up thinking artists were free and smart people. The teacher who shipwrecked my confidence was Mrs. Locke from the 3rd grade. I was told I was the class flirt before I even got my period. I was just being friendly. I believed this teacher because she presented me with an award. Yeah. I remember it was like the last day of school or something like that. And she had awards for everyone, like little certificates. And it was in an envelope and you could open it and you would like show the class and it'd be like, oh my God, you know, like best dressed or like funniest person in class clown, whatever. I got class flirt. And I remember feeling like so hot on my face, like hot with shame. And I was like even my throat just clenched up. But I thought, I'm just Brazilian, you know, like this is just how I am. But I remember feeling a lot of shame because of that. And then only years later did I realize it was like this strange form of like sexualization. Like who does that to a kid, you know? Especially as like an old woman. She's probably like in her 80s. So it's probably her own like repressed sexuality, but whatever. Anyways. Okay, number 16. The mentor who gave me a good role model was Nancy Drew. I love Nancy Drew. When people say I have talent, I think they want to get closer to me. The thing is, I am suspicious that they want to see behind my wall. I just can't believe that my life completely fell apart just for me to go back to painting what I was making as a kid. If I believe I am really talented, then I am mad as hell at myself and my procrastination and the universe and my fear and my doubt. Nice. And then I had to write out some affirmations, which I've been working with this week. The ones that I chose to work with were: creativity is a blessing I accept. My creativity is appreciated. I now accept hope. I now treat myself and my creativity more generously. I now allow myself to heal. Okay, then I had tasks. Okay, so this brought up like a lot of feelings, okay? This was the goal search, and oh my God, okay, this was the goal search. I had to basically write out what I wanted and write out my 5-year, 3-year, 1 year, 1 month, 1 week plan and a now plan, okay? So first I had to have a goal, and my goal is, in a perfect world, I would love to be a successful artist. Now, I remember when there's a plane. Hold on. Okay. I remember when I first did this plan. When I first did this plan, the first time that I did this book last summer, I was like very, very, very focused on the money. Like super focused on the money. And I think what's interesting is that I can see how there's a lot of overlap in the things that I want to do now, but how a lot of things have kind of like fallen away from the last time that I did this. Like what I thought was what I wanted actually wasn't what I wanted. Because I lived it and I realized that it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. There's another plane. So, in this goal, I had written, in a perfect world, I would love to be a successful artist. And so my my north node, which was like, okay, once this kind of star, this thing happens and you know that you've made it, I had written, make $100,000 a year from my art. And from that, I could see that my desire was actually rooted in security. Because again, it's not about the amount of money that you make. Money is just energy. But what I'm looking for is security. Self-proclaimed security. Because this isn't so much, oh, I want to work for an artist and make this. No. Like, I want it to be independently made, right? Like self-sufficient security. Okay. In 5 years, I would like to be in my beautiful home, painting surrounded by a beautiful garden. I have numerous collectors, a thriving social media presence, and a community of students who value sustainable art. An action I can take is to show up more online and let people find me and let people see me. This month, and then these were goals. So a monthly goal, or a monthly thing that I can do to get towards this goal, is I can schedule out my social media calendar. This week, I can edit 7 new videos. This day, I can upload my new paintings to my website. Right now, I can finish this chapter and record this video. So then it had me think of like a person who embodies these things, right? Like who is a successful artist and makes $100,000 a year from art minimum. And I chose Georgia O'Keeffe. I just love her. Oh my God, I just admire her so much. I really love that woman. And so that's kind of like this in my mind, right? Like, is this something that Georgia O'Keeffe would be stressing over? No? Then drop it. Move on. Go do something that Georgia O'Keeffe would be doing, okay? Then I had my 5-year goal, 3-year goal, 1-year goal, 1 month goal, and 1 week goal. And I kind of worked backwards, right? Which is still somewhat similar from the last time that I did this exercise, but I noticed that like a few things have changed, and rather than it being necessarily so focused on like income and money and these like harsh deadlines, or like by this time I should have this many XYZ, like, you know, chill out a little bit. I did have a few more things that were more so about community and connecting with people, rather than it just being this like one-sided thing, you know what I mean? So, okay, there was that. And then new childhood. So if I had perfect nurturing, I would be unafraid of the world and of myself. I wouldn't play small, and I would have a lot of loving friendships. I wouldn't get overwhelmed easily and self-sabotage, and I would know how to regulate my nervous system. I would sing, dance, paint, and play, and be unafraid of showing up as my true self. I would be trusting of others from the beginning, and I would know I was destined for great things. I would have never gone to treatment, and I would have been a straight-A student. I would have loved myself from the beginning. Color schemes. I chose to write about the color green, and then you had to like kind of write about its personality or its like tendencies. So, I am green. I am the trees that follow you alongside the car, swaying in the wind. I am the color of a good rest under the shade. I am the color of energy flowing. I am the tall grass bending in the river. I am the humming June bug blindly flying past you. I am the color of the soft meadow awaiting your picnic blanket. I love green. And then I realized, because she had us answer like, oh, do you have, like, what do you have? Do you have any clothing that's green? Is there green in your house? Is there green in your bedroom? And my favorite color is green, but I don't have any green clothing. I'm also very specific about my clothing. I don't really wear colors like that. And then I was like, I don't have anything green in my room either. But what I do have is a green sketchbook. This is where I keep my ideas. So, okay, cool. Then, oh my God, the next exercise was so funny. I had to write out things that I'm not allowed to do, and then I had to act them out. while music was playing and like while dancing. So imagine, I'm going to list off my things, but imagine all of these things I'm doing while listening to Toxic by Britney Spears, okay? Number one of things I'm not allowed to do: kill someone, scream in public, dig a really big hole just because, set off a fireworks show, bonanza, a fireworks show bonanza, all right? And then speed while driving. So that was really fun. Yeah, it was really fun. Okay, and then style search, I had to write out 20 things that I wanted to do. And then next to it, whether it cost money or it was free, if it was cheap or expensive, if I wanted to do it alone or with someone, if it was job related or not, if there was a risk or no, if it was slow or fast, and then if it was like a physical, spiritual, or I should say like body, mind, or spirit thing to do. And maybe I'll just list all of them. Okay, I had paddleboarding, ceramics, foster cats and kittens, go-kart driving, swim in a waterfall, plant flowers, teach a dog a trick, bake a cake, fry tofu real crispy, swim in the ocean, fly a plane, scuba dive, underwater photography, row a boat, tarot reading, design a tarot deck, drive a convertible, paint my toenails, ride a horse, and watch a game. So a lot of these, I think maybe it was like half and half. Half was free, half cost money. Majority of them were like cheap. I had maybe 5 that I wanted to do with people. Majority of them were not work related. I actually only had two that were work related, which was ceramics and then swimming in a waterfall, because I envisioned like making a whole video about exploring this waterfall. Majority of them, oh, I thought something was on me. It was this. Majority of them did not have a lot of risk besides things like flying a plane or scuba diving or go-kart racing. And maybe like 6 of them were done fast. And then also, I feel like it was a pretty even split between mind, body, and spirit. Okay, so I had to write an ideal day of like how my life is right now. And I had written, it was like to write an ideal day as of how my life is now, implementing some of the things that I can implement today, right? And I had said, wake up, write my morning pages, meditate, go do ceramics, eat tofu pho for lunch. I miss pho so much. I actually haven't seen a pho place here in Brasilia. I literally haven't even looked. I'm gonna look to see if I can find one. Come home, paint my toenails, pull a tarot card, and bake a cake for tomorrow, but I'll end up eating it today. And then I had my ideal day, which was like, if there were no limits, what would your ideal day look like? And I said, wake up, write my morning pages, go paddleboarding with the sunrise, eat breakfast, go to the ceramics studio, make clay things, eat delicious fried tofu for lunch, then plant some flowers in the garden, pull a tarot deck for the week, and row a boat out to watch the sunset on the lake. All with a little bottle-fed kitten in my pocket. All right. And then there was like a festive aspect, which was like, okay, what is something that you could possibly do from your list this week? And I had said, I'm going to go paddleboarding and I'm going to take photos of the wildlife. The lake here is so beautiful. I literally drive on it all the time. And every time I see there's like a paddleboard business right at the lip of the entrance of the lake. And I'm like, I need to do that. Every time I drive by, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to do that. Oh, I need to do that. Oh, I need to. So maybe that's my artist date this week. Okay, then I had my check-in. So I did my morning pages. There's a plane. I did my morning pages 6 days this week. I missed one just because I forgot. The experience overall has been good, but I think that this week I had a really hard time. Like, there's a hawk. I had a really hard time actually writing out 3 pages. I caught myself getting on like page 1.5, and then I would start scrolling. And so I've just had to keep my phone like on the other side of the room. And even if I don't know what to write, I'm like, I don't know what to write. I wish this was done. And so it feels like I hit a little bit of a slump there, because before I had no problem writing like 3+ pages, and now I'm kind of like, So, artist date. I went to see The Odyssey at the movie theater. It was incredible. Okay. It was incredible. Okay. And this ties into the next thing, which is like synchronicity from the movie, or any synchronicities that happened. There were synchronicities that I had seen in the movie, but, okay, a few things. So I went to the theater, and, first I was a little bit confused, and this is a tad bit embarrassing, because it's not like in the States where you go to a ticket box and you talk to the person, and they're like, oh, what movie do you want to see? Oh, I want to see The Odyssey. 1 ticket, please. Right? No, it was just a computer screen, and there are all these different buttons, and it was like, you do everything through this computer screen, and you get your ticket, you get your drinks, you get your snacks, you get your popcorn size, everything on this screen. And there was like a full ticket price and a half ticket price. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, it was so obvious. But at the time, my brain could not comprehend. I'm like, is this the price for the full movie, or to see a half of the movie? Like, I didn't understand. Turns out it was more of like a student discount. Okay, which, like, duh. But anyways, I like laughed about it with the worker. I was like, oh my God. Okay. So I had ordered a beverage. I ended up getting Guaraná, which is, I don't really drink soda like that, but it's my favorite Brazilian soda. Actually, it's just my favorite soda of all time. Not just Brazilian, but it is a Brazilian soda. And then I got medium popcorn and some M&Ms. And then, the theater was really cool, just like regular movie theater. I did not see the film in IMAX, unfortunately. I think I will go back and watch again, but I don't even know if there's an IMAX theater in Brasilia now that I think about it. Anywho, there were so many beautiful synchronicities in this film. Like, this movie was, it was incredible. There's a little bug. It was absolutely incredible. Like, oh my God, there were just so many little synchronicities. And I think that, like, I've always been very interested in Greek literature and like Greek stories. And so it was cool to see these familiar stories be translated in a way that felt very new. But at the same time, like, there was just so much symbolism in the movie, and I feel like it just really touched me. Like, it's not that Odysseus was just so busy, like, gallivanting around the world, right? It wasn't about the monsters or being stuck on an island or like saving his men or fighting off witches or whatever. It had nothing to do with that. It wasn't because of that he wasn't able to get home. It was his fear of getting home that kept him stuck in these cycles of fixing and saving and fighting and yada, yada, yada. And through all of these cycles of fighting and running, essentially, is what turned his heart into like a callous shell. Because in the beginning, if you haven't seen this movie, please like fast forward, because I'm going to give spoilers. In the beginning of the movie, when Penelope was like, oh, you know, there's talk of men at sea who like don't obey Zeus's law, and they're like savages. At the end, you find out that it was like Odysseus that was actually the savage, right? And it just resonated so much to me, because I kind of realized, like, I think I've been running for my entire life. I think I've been running for my entire life. And more specifically, like, yes, I've been running from myself, for sure. But I can see, and there's like this, you know, like very spiritual side of things. It's like, oh, reconnect with your spirit. And yes, but talking about like this 3D realm, like as a human, it just kind of made me realize that I'm like running away from home. And I really thought that home was here in Brazil, but I don't think that it is. And that's a little difficult to come to terms with. Because yes, like my family is here. This is where I was born, but I wasn't raised here. And as much as I try to like assimilate, people know that I'm not from here, you know? Like they look at me and they're like, oh, she's American. But then even when I'm like in the United States, that's a feeling that I grew up feeling of like, people knew that I wasn't from the United States, right? Like the question I would get the most is like, oh, what's your name? Where are you from? And so I never really felt like I was from there either. And so ever since watching that movie, I've been journaling a lot just about what home actually means to me. And I think that ultimately, like regardless of where I am physically on the planet, I'm always going to be home as long as I choose myself first. And yeah, it just made me come to a lot of realizations, and I think that I have to go back to LA. So I'll share more when the time's right, but the movie was just incredible. Like it really planted a seed in me. And then yeah, that led to my issues this week, which was feeling of not really knowing what's next, feeling lost, and kind of feeling disconnected from art as a career, which is so crazy for me to say because I've been obsessed with art since I was a kid, like literally obsessed with art. And I'm not saying that I'm giving up art forever or that I'm like closing the studio or that I'm just like done. That's not what I mean. But I think that a lot of my sense of worth I had put into being seen in a certain way as an artist. And I had kind of lost myself in that process, and like that's not what my worth is, you know? And I think my time here led me to reconnecting with myself and who I am and like my power. And art is just one of the many facets that I carry, but I think because I was so like, I had tunnel vision about my art, there are all of these other facets that I had neglected. And so now I feel like the time has kind of come for me to branch out a bit, and I'm nervous because I don't know what that looks like. But oh, hello bee. There's a fat bumblebee that just flew by. But yeah, so that's been like some of the issues. There's a plane. That's just like one of the issues that I've been feeling this week, is like that sense of confusion, but I'm not letting it overtake me. I'm realizing it's there, and I'm just like, whatever happens, happens, okay? Like, I'm not gonna force anything, and I'm open to possibilities. And it's like, I can see where I want to go in my life. I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but that's also not my problem, right? Because I think before I was so focused on like, well, how is it gonna work? How am I gonna get all the pieces together? And the how is not my responsibility, it's the what. I need to think about what I want, get really clear on what I want, and the how will sort itself out. So I'm just along for the ride at this point. And yeah. All right, so that was week 8. Kind of tough. Then week 9 next week is gonna recovering a sense of compassion. All right, I'll see you next week.